Hello and welcome back to what will be the second video in the Idiot's Guide to Modding in F1 2020. Again, it's a little bit different to previous years. This is a guide brought to you by myself. This is basically what I've found missing from guides or things that I've had to fumble around. I'm going to go through it from scratch to hopefully save people some time in terms of creating their own team and where to find stuff that isn't often commonly known. So today I'm going to cover the easiest thing of all to mod into the game, and that is the badges. It's your team badge. So the first thing you'll need to do is you'll need to go into your ERP archiver. You'll need to open, it'll crop up to where I have been, but it will open if you set it up like I mentioned in the last video via the settings tab here. It will open to this part here. So to find the badges and where they live in game, you go into asset groups, you go into UI package, texture arrays, customization, CSTM badge large, and emblem. It's a bit of a long way round to get there, but these are all the different badges in the game. So if I were to, let's pick one that I know is going to be in the game. Let's go for Scarab. So if we open this file and I click on it, that's the design in the game. Now the issue is this is in the game at the moment. We want this outside of game. So if I go textures and export, so I then go to, let's put it in here and save it. And then I'll close that for the minute. We then go into Photoshop or whichever program you're using. We open and we open this badge. We don't want to load a transparency as an alpha channel. We just want to leave it as a transparency. So simply just open the file. So you'll see we've got the design here and we've got the transparencies, which is this hatched area at the back. So what I'm going to do to make this nice and easy is I'm going to make a new layer, and this layer is going to be above what you can see here. Now there's a reason for this, because if I then were to make a design over the top here, I'm not getting rid of this layer underneath. I'm drawing over the top of it. But if I were to go to layer 0 and delete that layer now, that layer's gone. Now the reason I do that is this is quite a useful way of getting around trying to line things up. So if you design in line with where this is now, might seem strange to do it for a badge, but it will make more sense later on when we're doing things like adding sponsors over the top of sponsors, changing liveries, doing various different things to more complex things later on. So you do your badge design, whatever that might be, nice big splodge. We then go to, so if I get rid of that second layer, so there is our design as I get rid of half of that because I was in the wrong layer, but there we go, black splodge. We then go to save as. We then want to save it as something. I'm not going to call it that. We're going to call it tutorial. We're going to save as an Intel TextureWorks file using the plugin I talked about in the first video. And this time we're going to save it not as a color. We're going to save it as color and alpha. And click OK. Now what that does is that preserves all of this here as a transparency. Now that's important later on. So we're going to close that. We go back to our archiver. Now we've got this badge here. I'm not going to load into this one because otherwise I'll change the badge in game. But what I am going to do is go to where the one I've used to show you how to load into it. So I've used this one for my in-game, which is Formula, which is the one I suggest you actually use because everyone has it. It's one of the icons you're given at the start. So here's my badge design. So to load this back in, you go into textures and you go into import. You go back to where your file is saved. So here's mine. So I'll click that. In fact, we'll do it with a tutorial one. So if we go to open, and that then saves, I know you can't see it because it's the same image, but that then saves into there. You then simply go file, save, and you go from there. Once that's done, you can then go into game. I've got it here in windowed mode just so it's easier to show you. However, if I go across to my customization and I go to badges and I go to edit, in emblems under formula, my badge is there. If I'd have changed the scarab badge, then that would have appeared right there as well. However, the scarab badge I think is one of the ones you get in game, but you can do it with a 70s edition badge. You can do it with anything in here. You can do it with pointer, anything that appears in here. You can just change that individual file. It doesn't have to be the one I've used. That's just the one that's easiest for me to find. Now, one thing I found when I went into the game is that I had to change the colors a little bit, because the colors originally, as you can see, the color balance presents as a little bit off. But I found that if you select the right color and you play with the luminance, then it will work. You can get it to where you want it. And that's how you get the badge into the game. There's nothing more needed than that. It's fairly straightforward and easy to go into. But that is the first step in making your own team. I'm going to leave that video there. In the next video, I'll talk a little bit more about some of the easier stuff. I'm going to talk about pit crew stuff next because it's the easiest stuff to find and to adapt. And we'll work up to the more complex stuff, such as making your own race suits and helmets and vehicle liveries, because they, as we go through, rather than start with those first, because they are the most difficult to get your head around, we'll start working our way slowly through. If obviously you wish to design a car first, then simply jump to the video when I upload it, get around to uploading it of that, and start there and work at your own pace. For the moment, I'm going to bid you all farewell, and I will talk to you and see you again on the next video. Just on the screen now is obviously linked to my profile. Here's also a link to one of the other videos in the Idiot's Guide to Modding in F1. Give it a click. Please give it a subscribe and a like. This is the first time I've done anything like this, so it would be much appreciated. There is also on Steam, I do have custom setups and custom profiles for the car setups. Please, again, go on Steam. They're down as Rickadin under my profile, and they are all there for use. Tinker with them as needed. See you next time.